The rivalry between the two countries remains. The mutual suspicion, the distrust of one another remains. So we must continue to support APEC. We must continue to support the momentum for trade and trade liberalization in the global economy. But as long as we can stay relevant, add value, we will be one of the nodes in this evolving network. APEC has a very strong business community that works alongside the APEC ministers and leaders. And one of the recommendations that came out through our efforts working together with the Australians was to advance the agenda for paperless trade. That's to digitize trade processes, make it more seamless and convenient, reduce frictions. And I think that's a good thing for businesses. It may not seem like a very big news about tariffs and big policy change, but these sorts of cutting of red tape, reducing of frictions for trade are things that we should pursue. The APEC leaders still talk about trade, but different modifiers are used to describe trade. There's always been security carve-outs in trade agreements for national security, and these were in the past used sparingly. But nowadays, security is used very liberally, not just security in the traditional sense of defense, but also economic security, supply chain security, and technology security. So security is everywhere, and in the name of security, more barriers are put up against trade. So it's amidst this environment that we are meeting, and understandably there are different views across APEC economies around trade, but it's still very good that in this APEC meeting, we were able to achieve a consensus amongst the leaders and the ministers on the direction forward for APEC. So we must continue to support APEC. We must continue to support the momentum for trade and trade liberalization in the global economy. And for us, that means multiple lines of work. It means, on the one hand, we have to continue to reform the WTO, which is very important, and I spoke about that at the APEC meeting. We also have to bring together the different regional groupings closer together, pursue new initiatives as we have been doing. Like at the sidelines of this APEC meeting, we started with New Zealand and Chile the Green Economy Partnership Agreement, as we did last time with P4 with Brunei and the three economies too. We have to be realistic about the challenges of WTO reforms and trade policy reforms globally. As far as the new initiatives that we are doing, whether it's the FITP with the Future of Investment Trade Partnership with other small and medium trade-dependent economies, or the JIPA, I think these have a lot of value because you get smaller trade-dependent economies. With regards to the green economy, to illustrate, when we talk about the green economy, what are we saying? There are still differing standards around some very basic things. What is a carbon credit? The rules may be different from one country to another. And so when businesses have to interoperate across boundaries, across countries, there are multiple rules to look at, and it raises compliance costs, makes it hard to interoperate, and this is bad for business. So when we are able to harmonize some of these standards, converge around an agreed format of disclosure, for example, then all of these helps to reduce compliance. It helps to facilitate more trade and investment flows. And that should be good. How does all this help Singaporeans at the end of the day? Well, the simple formula is more trade, more investments leads to better jobs for Singaporeans. That's the tangible benefits from trade. But trade also has a lot of intangible benefits. When we trade with one another, we It leads to more competition, but the competition sharpens our capabilities. There'll be more barriers to trade, there'll be more uncertainty, there'll be more competition for investments, and we have to find our new way forward in this environment. That's why we are doing a fundamental review of our economic strategies. But as long as we can stay relevant, add value, we will be one of the nodes in this evolving network, and that's how we can continue making a living for ourselves even as the world changes. They had a good discussion and conversation. I'm glad it took place and that it has provided some stability. And also for the global economy, this is much needed to provide some predictability, but it is short term. And I think the underlying structural issues have not been fully resolved. The rivalry between the two countries remains. The mutual suspicion, the distrust of one another remains. The continued attempts to insulate themselves from one another, I'm sure, will continue. So we just have to be realistic. It's a relief that this has taken place, but we should also be very clear that the underlying concerns and the underlying rivalry between the two great powers will continue. We mark 50 years of diplomatic ties this year. We share some commonalities, we share complementarities between our economies, and we both have shared ambitions to move forward in innovation, in sustainability, in technology. And that's where I think there's a lot of scope for greater collaboration. Korea has a lot of technological strengths in energy, in AI, and in semiconductors, for example, and we hope we can work closely with them and complement their strengths with our market networks, with our financial strengths, for example. And already there are these sorts of partnerships happening with quite a number of leading Korean companies with their headquarters in Singapore. So we hope to expand on that, do even more in these areas and potentially in other areas too.